Jimmy, you really are like a sunflower, Jimmy. You really. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hello, do we have Stefan on the phone?
Yeah.
Hi, Stefan. You're talking to Jim and Matt on UFC Unfiltered. How you doing?
What's up, Stefan?
What's up? What's up, guys?
Hey,
I was ready
Stefan.
for you guys. I thought
Go ahead.
you guys are going to call me in 45 minutes, but it's all good.
Oh shit, man! You want to? Hey, listen, we got time.
No, hold on. Are we early?
Are we early?
It might be a time difference there. Our producer makes a lot of mistakes.
Stefan, I apologize, but I really shouldn't
No
be.
worries, bro.
It should be Chris, the producer. Our producer. I don't know what to do with him, Stefan. I'll tell you.
I know what to do with him.
Hey, Stefan, really quick, because I don't know if you know. This is Matt Serra. We hung out. We were in a van once before, me and you. Do you remember that or no?
Yeah.
Now, do you remember us?
We kept walking into each other in the airport.
Yes. And actually,
Remember
I kept trying. Listen, you are such a nice dude, and I said this before on air. When we got to that airport, I don't know if you remember, I really tried to lose you because I can't be walking around with you, dude. I'm up to your waist, and I'm not attacking you. It's more me than you, Stefan. It looked weird. It looked fucking weird. It looked like twins or something.
Wow, you guys look exactly alike.
Yeah, you know? I'm like, Stefan, you're such a nice dude. You're so damn tall. Listen, buddy, first of all, congratulations on your fight.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
And now, was that your last fight? I mean, or did you think about that prior, or was that on the fly right there? Were you looking to leave your gloves in the cage?
You know, man, I've been thinking about it a lot with all the stuff that happened in my career with my health issues and all that. At a certain point, you have to consider it, you know what I mean? I had a bunch of surgeries the last couple of years, so it was just getting harder and harder to really prepare at its best. You know, for me, there's only one way to do it, and that's, you know, with a great training camp and putting all the work in you have to put in. And, yeah, it's just getting harder and harder. So, but, you know, I've been thinking about it a lot, and it just felt like the right time at that point. So, yeah, man, it feels good.
So it feels good to know that you're done.
Yeah, I don't really want to deal with those 2 months where I have to do everything to prepare. Everything needs to be perfect. Eating right, training right, sleeping right, you know. I don't really feel like doing that anymore. If for some reason I still had to do it, a couple more fights, I'd be, you know, I totally can do it. You know, that's me. If I need to do something, I can do it. But it's more wanting it. You know what I mean? Like being hungry enough to do it. And that's slowly disappearing. So.
Wow! Thank you for that. That's really honest. You're just losing the desire to kind of have to prepare for the fight. It's just it doesn't hold for you what it used to hold for you.
I fought in the UFC 22 times, and before the UFC, I fought a similar amount, something like that, in Europe. And I beat the best guys in Europe at that point when I was very young. And I just had a ton of fights. And I remember when I was fighting at that point, man, I wanted to go in that cage, and I wanted to read all about what I did and what I was going to do and what people thought of me. And I loved it, man. I still love this sport. I really, really do. And I also don't want to start hating it. You know what I mean? Like, I will totally enjoy teaching, which, you know, like Matt, you know, when I see something, some footage of Matt when he's teaching, you see he loves it. You know what I mean? Like, it's still doing this sport, but just, like, in a different way. So,
now,
it's great.
Are you training a lot of jiu-jitsu, Stefan? Because you have the record for the second most finishes in the heavyweight division with submissions. Now, Chris Producer's looking at his. Is that right?
Might be third.
What the fuck are you looking at?
I know it was Amir.
You're
I
scaring
think.
me. No, I think it's second.
Is it second?
It is second.
Second,
Why are these?
Yeah.
Hey, Stefan, I had my shit correct. These guys are both looking at me, and I'm fucking getting nervous. But no, I had my notes right. But listen, I mean, how much do you work on your ground game, and do you think maybe some grappling competitions or I know you're known for being a striker, kinda. I mean, but do you ever think about doing any grappling competitions?
You know, I'll be very honest. I don't think I'm good enough to measure myself with the best heavyweight grapplers. When I see those guys rolling, that's not my level. My ground game is very well suited for MMA, especially you know, with these big guys when they get a little tired after striking them, their energy out of themselves. You know, I just do very well waiting for my opportunity and then, you know, sneaking them into a submission. I know how to do that. So I don't think my style is good enough for grappling on the highest level. But if someone wants to have me for a grappling match, I'd be totally up for that. Yeah, it's something new.
I think it'd be very interesting, and sometimes people like to watch that to see how the MMA guys cross over into the straight grappling, and vice versa. Stefan,
yeah, no, I will give my all. Like I'm not gonna try and avoid a grappling exchange. Like what you see when some fighters do that. Yeah. They try not to really engage, and they try not to get submitted. But if one of the best guys in the world will submit me in a grappling match because I really try to grapple him, that is what it is. So.
And Stefan, you're only 31 years old, which is a relatively young age to have had so many. I mean, 40 professional fights. You started in 2005, so you were basically 17 when you started fighting professionally. What did you do before that, or like what? Because it's such a big guy. A lot of times, really big guys don't have to fight because nobody fucks with you. So, what kind of pushed you towards fighting?
My brother was training and fighting at the gym close to my home, Bob Schreiber's gym, who's been with me throughout my whole career. And he took me when I was 14 years old, 15 years old. And I started doing heavy back training. And I still had braces, so I couldn't spar, I couldn't really grapple. And slowly I made my way into grappling and kickboxing and all that stuff. I had my first amateur fight at 16, and yeah, we went from there. So I had my first pro fight in Vegas, my first foreign fight when I was 18. So things went really fast.
Did you love it immediately, or was it just like, well, you didn't really have another game plan, so you kind of went with it, not sure what else would come up?
After that fight in Vegas, I won by triangle choke, and against a guy with a really good record. And I was just like, let's see how far I can take this. I was always watching Pride, which was the #1 promotion at that point, and UFC was really starting to take all the big names at that point, and I just wanted to see how far I could take it. And, I believed that I could do the things I did right now, and I believed I was going to be a champion. But unfortunately, I didn't get to do that. But I'm happy with what I showed in that cage.
What was your? We had Kamaru Usman on yesterday and Anthony Smith, and we were talking about just the mentality of guys when they walk in the cage, being afraid or how you handle it. What was your mentality when you would walk in? Or if you get ready for a fight, do you want the fights before you to kind of go for a longer time so you can kind of relax longer, or did you like the fights before you to be over fast because you wanted to get in there and fight and get it done?
I just want to get in there as soon as I can, just get it over with. I think, everybody who fights, some have it more than others, but everybody has got that anxiety that you have to fight, you don't know what's going to happen. And everybody's afraid, not even about, doing the fight, but about losing or about, getting into a really, really heavy fight. Like I've had some really, really big wars in there. And the next fight, you're like, oh, man, we got to do this a little different because I don't feel like going that deep today. But, yeah, man, I just went in there. And before I came to the UFC, I already won like 20 fights. So I stepped into the cage. I'm like, these guys are tough. This guy looks like a monster. I was a skinny heavyweight at that point. But I'm like, I don't care. Just do your thing. And in like 4 or 5 minutes, you'll be done, and you got another victory. So do it like that.
Isn't it funny, no matter how much experience you have, you could deal with the nerves better, but they're still there. Because I remember you just said recently that you're gonna be happy not to have that feeling that mm-hmm. Right? Didn't you say you're gonna be having that pre-fight feeling, the nerves, you're gonna be happy not to deal with that anymore?
Yeah, 100%. Just the week of the fight, when you're in bed at night, you go to bed, and during the day, it's easy to control all the things that's going on in your body. But when you're asleep, now and then you wake up, and especially later on, I would wake up, and it's like having a bad dream. I'd be sweating, but I'd be cold, and especially like the night before the fight, you'd wake up, and there's so much going on in your body, adrenaline, and all sorts of feelings, all sorts of emotions. And I wake up and shivering, but hot and cold at the same time, and like a horrible feeling in your stomach, and you don't want to go back to sleep, but you have to. It's horrible. And then, the day to fight, it comes and goes, and then you finally get to the locker room and you're locked up in there, and you're going to have to fight this guy who's a monster too, and you never know what's going to happen. You got an idea. But yeah, man, that's something I can deal with, but something I'm going to be happy with that I don't have to deal with anymore. I've done that enough, and it was a great experience, man. It has given me so much tools for the rest of my life, all the things that come with fighting, how to prepare yourself and all the things you have to do. It built me as a man, and I'm really happy with all of it.
And you talked about that, like, was there a point, like anybody you fought, now that you're done fighting, where you said that some nights you weren't sleeping that well the night before, or the jitters? Was there any one fight you can remember, you look back, where you were the most worried when you were walking in?
You mean walking, like making a walk to the cage?
Yeah, or in the cage, like because you hadn't slept the night before, or you were feeling like you were hurt and and people didn't know it. Was there one fight that you were dreading the most once you got in the cage?
Yeah, I've had several. I've had so many fights too. So like, when I fought Boy Nelson, he just won tough, and I was 22 years old, man. He won tough. He was one of the best guys in the world, knocking guys out left and right, and I got sick the day of the fight. I threw up. We got to the arena, did the warm-up, and, like, I was thinking all sorts of things about changing the game plan. My mind was messing with me, and then I finally walk out, and we're both in the cage, and Bruce pointed to me to announce me, and the lights go off. And we're in the cage for, like, 5 to 10 minutes, and they pull us out of the cage. And they have to restart the generators and all that stuff, waiting backstage, and I just wanted to get it over with because I got sick and all that stuff. And, man, that was something. And, what I just described, the jitters at night and stuff, I had it a whole bunch of times. And then the Mark Hunt fight, I was really sick before that fight. We didn't know about my heart condition at that point. So I was sick for about 6 weeks. But I'm not someone who pulls out a fight easily. Something really needs to happen for me to pull out a fight. But so I was sick, and we flew to Japan, and I just couldn't sleep. I slept like 2 hours a night. And I remember in the hotel they had this carpet in all sorts of weird shapes and all that. And I was looking at it, and it started to move and all that stuff. It was just awful being there. And warming up, my coach was taping my hands, and I almost passed out because I was so tired. And then I had to fight him. I got so tired so fast in that fight. That was my last fight before I was out for about 20 months. And I got so tired and just feeling, the worst feeling when you're in that octagon is being completely exhausted with nothing left, And
I agree.
I had a really good first round. I almost finished him with ground and pound, and then my body just gave out on me. And I held on for like almost another 2 full rounds, and then he landed that shot, which broke my jaw and knocked me down. And I was still good to go. He only knocked me down. He didn't knock me out. But being so tired and feeling that way, that coming back, the first fight I was going to have after that was going to be with Matt Mitrione. And it's when I passed out in the locker room because I was on medication that I didn't handle well. Man, just dealing with the feeling from the Hunt fight and then fighting again, that was something really hard to overcome. So.
You said you got a jaw, bro. I've never had my broken jaw, knock wood. Not being able to breathe through my mouth is a terror for me.
Because Jimmy has bad sinuses.
I do. So how did you handle that for, what was it, like, it's 8 weeks or something that you can't open your mouth and eat or breathe through your mouth?
The aftermath wasn't as bad, but just we were in Japan. He broke my jaw, and it was a pretty bad fracture too. So my lower half of my right jaw was on the upper left side, and there was like splinters and all sorts of stuff going on in my mouth, and was bleeding. It was pretty bad, and we had to be in an ambulance for like 3 hours to get to the hospital. Oof. And the entire time I asked them, give me something for the pain, but they didn't have anything at that point. And they didn't know if they were going to do surgery at that point.
Wow.
So they couldn't give me anything. And I was holding like a bucket, and I was bleeding in that bucket, and it was just horrible. And like my brother and coach were there, luckily, and they were like cracking jokes and all that stuff. And I was just feeling horrible. We finally get to the hospital, and they start working, and then they tell me, like, we don't want to do the surgery here. We'd rather have it, have that you do it back home in Holland. And I'm like, you know what, just, give me something for the pain. And they put some sort of braces on it to, like, get it straightened out at least. So it wouldn't be as big of a mess as it was. And so we fly back to Holland, and we already talked to the surgeon. He was going to do the surgery today. I would come back. And so I come to the hospital, and they wait for me at the front door, and they tell me you cannot come into the hospital because you have to be tested for MRSA because we don't know if they have that bacteria in Japan. So we get the test, and I have to wait at least, another day or two for them to get the result. But every single day they would call me. They would tell me, if we don't call you before 12 a.m., so noon, we're not going to do the surgery that day. And in the end, I waited for 9 days with a broken jaw, man.
Wow.
It was horrific. It was the worst thing ever. I could barely eat. And not only that, but I just lost one of the biggest fights of my career. With a big knockout while I was on a 4-fight win streak, and I was still not 100%. I still had, like, the flu in my system and all that. Oh man, it was so bad. And then they finally do the surgery, and it's not over yet. I wake up, and after a while, I feel with my tongue, and there's still like a piece of bone like sticking out, but like to the side of my teeth. But the surgeon's like, no, the skin is going to grow over it and all that. He's like, you just sleep over it, and if you still feel like we should take it out, then the next day we'll do that. So same thing. I tell him in the morning we have to take it out because it's really sharp. So he's like, okay, you just sit up. So he gets a pair of pliers, and he goes in my mouth, man, and he just reaches in and he yanks it out without anesthetic or anything. And
What the fuck?
I almost passed out. It was horrible. Man.
Well, hey, listen, happier. Let's talk about some happier things. You know who else almost passed out? Marcus, when you were strangling him over the weekend to end your career. I'm bringing you back to Positiveville because
exactly, man. But
hey, that was in the past. Those guys in your mouth with pliers pulling your.
That's fascinating to me, though. Just to have to wait 9 days with a broken jaw.
Listen.
Oh man, it was horrible. I know. I got a bunch of good stories, so I know people would like to hear this kind of
sure.
stuff. So, everybody saw the submission, but tomorrow they'll enjoy the story of the broken jaw. So,
well, I mean, let me tell you, it does show like your perseverance because this fight did not start the way you probably wanted it to over the weekend.
Nope.
Right? I mean,
No.
I know what I love about you, and you really confirm it in this interview, the way you're being so honest, is your honesty. Because the second, a lot of guys, when they get hit, they're like, it's more off balance. You asked for a replay. You asked for a replay to see what you got hit with. I thought that was excellent.
Yeah, and then looking back from what I remember, I've watched the fight a couple times now, and like he was like full on in my guard on the ground for a couple seconds when I really recognized where I was.
Oh,
so
wow.
I missed like a good 5 to 10 seconds, but it doesn't seem like that because I keep going. My body kept going. My brain was off for a bit, but I just kept going. So I was like, "Whoa, what are we doing on the ground? We started on our feet, right?" Like, so I was just like, getting, just trying to get my senses back on the ground. He did a good job pushing me up against the fence, and for a taller guy, it's really hard to get up against the fence when you have someone like that on top of you. And I did just enough. I was looking for butterfly sweeps and all that to keep him busy. He was too strong to pull him out, but he had to keep working the entire time to keep me up against the fence. And he was getting more tired with every second that went by. So I told myself, let it burn out. You don't have to waste a lot of energy to get back up. Just sit through this round, and then the second round we're gonna get it back. So it's exactly how it went. So experience came in my luck this time for sure.
Well, sorry about that. It was amazing. When you look at the numbers, it's funny because the numbers of strikes is 68-2. His advantage, of course. Significant strikes, 25-0. Takedowns, your advantage, 1-0, and that was all it took.
Hey, man, that's the beauty of jiu-jitsu, man. A guy could be beating the crap out of you. Not that he was, but a guy could be. You land that submission, that guy's going to sleep.
Sure.
And then you could do whatever you want with him. Not to sound crazy.
He landed some really good shots on the bottom, but most of them, I really control his posture, so he couldn't really land heavy shots. And I was relaxed, man. I felt good when the round ended. I was completely ready. Even when the round ended, I was ready for round two. I was ready to go. So, and I looked at him. He was breathing heavy, and I knew he used a ton of energy. I was like, all right, you're mine. So,
he was tough, man, and you definitely. I mean, if that's your last fight, Stefan, I mean that is a fun one though because you had to overcome.
Yeah.
And it kind of sums you up, where you had to just, it showed a lot of just perseverance. You overcame, and two things for Marcus. One is, maybe learn that that choke escape, and two, maybe a couple more sit-ups. Because right now, Stefan, his abs. I'll tell you right now, Stefan, I'm only going to be 45. I think my abs look better than Marcus right now. But he's got a right hand from hell, and congratulations on your win, Jimmy.
Yeah,
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, you were really fun to watch you fight, and thanks for so many great fights, man. It's really been a pleasure watching you.
Yeah, Stefan.
It was my pleasure for sure, man. Thank you very much.
All right, good luck, man. Nice talking to you.
Yes, all our best,
Thanks,
buddy.
guys. Have a good night.
All right, take care. Bye.
What
a nice guy.
Oh,
man.
he's a great guy.
I've never met him. I would love to.
I get that picture off there. No offense, but I feel like that's the before and after with me and with fucking.
Dude, 9
guy's
days.
a little chubby.
9 days.
I can say it as a guy who's a former chubby guy.
That's a hideous story.
I'm 9 days
say?
with a broken jaw.
That sucks, dude. That really does
and
suck.
a flight home, you can't eat.
No,
He's sick. What if he threw up or something?
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah, and your
God.
mouth. Well, that's what I kind of wondered about the broken jaw with being. They give you, I think, I've never had it. They give you bolt cutters. And by the way, if there's nobody wants their jaw broken. But if you had to choose the one person on earth whose fist you would not want breaking your jaw, Mark Hunt is the guy.
I was gonna say that's like the absolute wrong guy to be standing in front of when you don't feel like fighting or you don't feel.
If you don't,
the jaw's a scary thing.
Yeah.
That's why I like kind of not that I like being 5'6". I don't mind it, but my jaw's kind of hidden.